Okay, good day, everyone. We are Group 3. I am Roxanne, and together with our team, Maren, Marie, and Lisette, we will be presenting our project entitled Evaluation of Gender Dynamics in Technology Adoption and Visual Production Training in the Philippines. Next slide, please. For the crop production is the primary contributor to the Philippine agricultural sector. The vegetable area in the country amounts to over 675,000 hectares, with 8.2 metric tons per hectare of productivity. Additionally, vegetable farmers rely heavily on production costs and farm gate prices, which affects their income. Next slide. On the other hand, training services play a big role in providing basic farming knowledge and transferring the latest technology to address production challenges. This was offered by both government agencies like Agricultural Training Institute or ATI and private institutions such as East-West Seed Knowledge Transfer Foundation or EWSKT. Despite significant efforts to enhance agricultural productivity through training programs, the participation and effectiveness of these programs often vary across different demographics, including gender. However, there are limited knowledge about how gender dynamics influence technology adoption learned on vegetable production training in the country. Our research objectives are, next slide. Number one is to assess how gender influenced the adoption of vegetable production techniques. Second, explore gender-specific challenges that limit access to training and the adoption of techniques among men and women farmers. And third, suggest strategies for improving the inclusivity and effectiveness of vegetable production training for both men and women. With the following hypotheses, next slide. First is women adopt the techniques presented in these training programs at lower rates than men. Second, women have less access to vegetable production training programs than men. And third, men and women respond differently to questions about applying what they learned, sharing knowledge, seeking more training, and adapting new technologies. For the methodology, next slide. This research adopts a mixed method approach combining quantitative and qualitative data collection through survey and focus group discussion. Purposive sampling was used with 10% of the population from the trained farmers of ATI and East-West Seed KT from 2019 to 2024, ensuring equal number of male and female respondents of 47 for both, 94 in total, while FGD participants were selected based on their availability. For the key findings, next slide.
Next slide,
Next
please.
slide, please.
For the first key finding, it highlights the influence of gender dynamics on the adoption of vegetable production techniques. Approximately 80% of both men and women adopted the techniques. The chi-square statistical analysis indicated no statistically significant association between gender and adoption. So similarly, also in Kramer's v-test, it showed no meaningful relationship between gender and the adoption of these techniques. Therefore, we reject the hypothesis that women adopt the techniques presented in the training programs at lower rates than men. Next slide, please.
For the second findings, figure shows the percentage of male and female access to training programs. Result shows that 91% of females have easy access to training, while 87% of male can easily participate in the training. This result rejects the hypothesis that women have less access to training. But during the FGD, factors that limit both men and women participation were identified. For women, time is spent doing farming activities followed by the time spent doing household responsibilities were determined, while for men, time is spent doing non-farming activities and location, followed by time spent doing farming activities were cited. Next finding, please.
Okay, so the third key findings is about the level of agreement of men and women to the following statements. Number one, I am confident that I will continue to apply the techniques I learned. 2, I will actively share my knowledge to my family and peers. 3, I will actively seek and attend more training that is relevant to my farm-related activities. And 4, I will adopt new technologies which I will learn from training in the future. Respondents determine whether they strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree, agree or strongly agree. And we use descriptive statistics instead of a chi-square test because we received very few responses in certain categories. As an overview, next, please. Okay, please go back. to the previous slide. I just want to highlight that nearly half of males, thank you, nearly half of males and females are strongly agreeing on all of the four statements. The result tested and rejected hypothesis 3, stating that men and women respond differently to questions about these topics. For our next slide, which is about the fourth key findings, it focused on the gender dynamics. For the activity, access, and control profile of men and women Filipino vegetable farmers, we just used the findings from the 2022 study conducted by EWSKT Foundation, which was published on 2023 due to limited time and resources. They conducted 2 interviews with women farmers and 9 FGDs with 5 women-only groups, 2 mixed groups, and 2 men-only groups. And their findings suggest that Filipino women and men vegetable farmers work collaboratively in both decision-making and farm management, and they are both actively managing the finances, accessing farm resources, and learning opportunities. To complement this, our survey focused on the consultation practices of men and women farmers based on living arrangements. Respondents were grouped into 2, the respondents living with parents, immediate family, and or have no partner, and the respondents living with a partner or spouse. Our survey findings suggest that there were no significant gender differences, but more emphasis is given on the seen active role and involvement of immediate family and parents in financial decisions for most respondents, including other decisions related to vegetable farming. The survey result also highlighted possible higher collaboration with partners among females for financial decisions, contrasting with a tendency towards male independence. Next slide.
So based on our findings, we developed some recommendations. So our first recommendation is to find targeted outreach strategies by developing gender-sensitive communication approaches. So example is using neutral language, avoiding stereotypes, and using different channels. Our number 2 recommendation is to have flexible training schedule. So for example, offering sessions at different time of the week, different time of the days, and also breaking down the session into shorter events so it's easier to fit in a schedule. Our third recommendation is to improve the digital learning resources. So digital learning platforms have the potential to reach farmers who face mobility and geographical constraint. Our fourth recommendation is to use a multi-pronged approach. So organizing a blended learning programs where farmers attend in-person and online workshops, and also using creative communication material to appeal to different learning style and preferences. Our fifth recommendation is to provide a financial support mechanism, such as subsidies, grants, or incentives. Example include training subsidies to cover the costs of attending the training sessions, offering mobile credit, or input voucher for seeds or fertilizer or tools. Our sixth recommendation is to sustain training participation by conducting follow-up periodic refresher course or techno updates to reinforce the adoption of the learned techniques. And our last recommendation is to further enhance household and community support by promoting gender-inclusive policies that encourage shared household and farming responsibilities to increase participation in training sessions and farming cooperatives. Next.
For the future research, we propose the following key areas. First, comparative analysis of in-person, online, and blended training in vegetable production. While men participated more in online training, no significant gender differences were found in technique adoption. So this raises the question, does the mode of training affect adoption? So second, the comparison of training providers was initially planned, but we dropped due to time and respondent limitations. So, and this still remains a valuable area for future study. Third, further research is needed to understand why men have greater access to online training. Potential factors to explore include differences in digital access, motivation levels, and other underlying reasons. Fourth, we suggest deeper research into how household decision-making is evolving, especially with increased knowledge access and inclusivity. Lastly, comparing training channels that includes a control group that received no training could offer clearer insights into the most effective approach. Next slide, please.
Okay, so for our training insights and takeaways, we categorize them into two, the things we find helpful for the current and future projects and our challenges. What's helpful for us are all the practical applications, working as a group, having a clear end goal, being flexible, seeking feedback, community engagement that we had online, but we think that in-person interviews and FGTs are still better in the training materials. So moving on to our challenges across the team, next, please. Okay. We were challenged in securing the participation of respondents, and we have lack of in-depth research experience, short time frame for the project, limited resources, accessibility of research locations, securing commitment of partners from ATI and EWSKT Foundation, balancing research and work and data analysis. And thank you. That ends our report. Thank you.